Well, in Las Vegas, as agency director of LDS Social Services, I interacted with all the bishops and stake presidents, but once a month the stake president for a regional area would call all the stake presidents together, and it was my job to instruct them. It was interesting, when I first arrived there, the stake presidents weren't very friendly, and I finally discovered why I wanted to meet one of the stake presidents, and he was reluctant. And after we finally got together, he sat there and he said, "Well, what can I do for you?" And I thought, okay, that's what the former director had done, was directed the priesthood. And I said, "President, the question really is, what is it I can do for you?" He sat there for a minute and he says, "Okay, we have this Kingman area in our stake, and within 2 or 3 years we want it to be a stake. So what I'm going to do is release a member of the bishopric out there, and you will go to Kingman once a month and help the bishops out there, and we're going to make a stake out of it." So suddenly I was following the direction of the priesthood rather than trying to direct the priesthood. And I discovered that no matter what a bishop was saying, his revelation was correct. Sometimes a bishop would say, "We have this situation, this is what we're going to do about it." And I'd say, "Bishop, tell me about the inspiration you received about this." And he would tell me, and I could see a way to resolve the problem that wouldn't hurt people. His way would hurt people sometimes. And I say, "Why don't we do this?" And he says, "Oh, that's okay, I just want it solved." So I learned that you could trust the revelation of a bishop. And then I became a bishop out there at the same time. And that was a very difficult thing, because I was interacting with all the bishops and stake presidents, except my stake president never called me. He should have done. He thought I knew everything, but I didn't. I need help. But I discovered that you can follow the inspiration of a bishop if you know what that inspiration is, not what his determination was to do about it. Mm-hmm. And that my job became to make it so that it would work from his revelation. That's a very humbling experience. I had those same kinds of experiences in Winnipeg. We were called to work with adults who had been molested as children. And I thought, whoa, these are the kind I usually refer out, you know, here in Las Vegas. But we went up there, and I didn't have any of my materials with us.
He had given them all away.
The Lord provided.
Well, let me tell you about that one experience as far as this material. One day, we went to a little library in one of the towns out of Winnipeg, and he was looking for some books or some information on this subject that he had given away. And I was going through an old box of family circles. They were about 10, 15 years old. And I came across this one and I thought, well, maybe I can find some recipes in this magazine. So I was going through it, and here I found all these things about counseling. And I gave it to Pat, and I says, "Look, is this something that might help you?" He says, "That's what I'm looking for." It was 15 years old, a family circle. Some articles by a psychologist or somebody, counseling psychologist. He says, "That's exactly what I was looking for." Oh. And so we had several experiences like that.
Well, one day, one of the ward members, Brother Gadisha, came and knocked on our door on the 3rd level, And he's supposed to have been going through the landlord, but somehow he got up to our room without that. He says, there's a TV program on, you need to see it, and it was about the inner child,
On a
about
public,
adults molested
public
as
channel.
children. And he said, I said, okay, I can copy that, but I discovered that the TV that they had required me to have, because I might be on the reservation, wouldn't record. So we sat in his home while he recorded them, and we used those materials. It was interesting, I had 2 women's groups and a men's group, and these women would sort of sit around and call each other and rush off here and there, but they weren't really functional. They never really didn't attend church or have church positions. And during the year we were there, they became more functional and began to participate and to contribute. One time they said to Betty, you're the only non-dysfunctional person we know. So her job was to model functionality, and I did that to an extent, because if they'd have a priesthood meeting there that I didn't really need to attend, but I'd say there's a priesthood meeting, I need to go to that. I had to demonstrate that a man could go away and he'd really come back. And I was directed by the Spirit all the time we were there. It's amazing. I knew what to do, and I kept thinking to myself, I need to remember this because I may need to do it again, and it was something I had never done before. Of course, I had a lot of training, but I had never really functioned much in that area. We discovered that it didn't really have to be physical, sexual molestation, but just denigration by a parent to a child.
One lady had not been, it had been just emotional, just her mother, just like he said, just emotional talking.
Denigration, yeah.
That ruined her.
But
and that gave her the same
the symptoms were
symptoms
the same.
as this sexual molestation.
And she needed to overcome that and discover she was okay. It seemed to me like we were bringing these sisters and brothers to the Savior, just as the missionaries bringing a non-member into the church, because they were members, but they weren't really in the church. But they began to, and that was a joyful experience, but the most difficult that I've ever had.
My goodness, they gave us a quilt when we left, and they made us a thing that we could hang on the wall that they really did appreciate.
Well, I had some clients that would wait in the cultural hall till everybody left. They didn't want people to know that they were seeing me. But when they made the quilt and everybody put their name on it, and they made sure their name was on the quilt.
He worked a lot with the missionaries also. And I did, of course, in the groups I worked on in those, but some of the times I was just tending the kids while he did the counseling with the elders. However, this one time, one of the elders, I guess he was counseling one of the other elders, and we were in a church, one of the churches, and so the one elder that was not being counseled taught me how to play the pedals on the organ. and use an organ, and I've had to use that several times since that he taught me while we were just sitting there waiting. So, but it was an interesting experience up there. Winnipeg, Canada is about the coldest place in Canada. It was really chilly. We lived on the 3rd floor, so it was warm up there. It was better. But we had some cool weather. About a week of summer, the one year we were there.
Well, yeah, I took a shower at the wrong time and missed spring.
But it was a nice place. It was flat. It was different than living around mountains.
Yeah.
But it was a
Yeah,
good
it's a
place.
continuation of the Great Plains.